a brand new character to discuss and share for the character requests for you guys, and we have Bubble Bass and a unique pick and some of the requests and some people who want to see him into the game, and many others who have brought in additional or brought up additional SpongeBob roasts that they wanted to see. I seen some of you guys say in the comments Larry the Lobster and so many others, Bubble Buddy from way back when this game just recently came out, when there's only 3 SpongeBob roasts being seen. Someone wanted to see Bubble Buddy, so I made him, and then Man Ray, Doodle Bob, and Squidward and Plankton and so much more. We got Squidward and Plankton, of course, to join the likes of hopefully Sandy as well. But we know SpongeBob Patrick's in the game. But now let's start talking about other SpongeBob characters that y'all want to see. And Bubble Bass is one of them for this request. And he's not in the game. He hasn't been seen or anything like that. So let's get that out the way. This is just all part of my series for character requests that you guys want to see for y'all favorite characters from these different shows and universes from the NCU. Nickelodeon cartoon universe with all these amazing characters and memorable characters. SpongeBob has a lot of great characters that I wanted to see personally get into the game, and even more other shows that's still missing. But Bubble Bass, he's not really a main character, but just seeing how big he is, you can imagine what he could be capable of being tanky, and he might even have his own little super armor, similar to how Reptar has a little bit in this game with some of his attacks, especially when he does his down special when he ignites the field with his fire. So like when you hit him, he gets the super armor, he just takes the hit. So characters like Bubble Bass can really be dangerous and really fun to play, and I think a good amount of people will probably end up buying him if he becomes paid DLC, or if he gets into Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 as a future character. But if you have not seen him, if you don't know anything about him, one thing I like doing for these characters, as always, is talking about the backstory so you guys can get to know the character for who he or she is, or he or she is from these different shows. So not everyone might not know of him or haven't seen him before, because when they think about SpongeBob, they think about SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward, and then some people will bring up Mr. Krabs and Plankton, and then a little bit of Sandy here and there. They don't bring up characters like Bubble Bass because they're not major. They're not really seen in these episodes like that, and they don't make that many appearances in the episodes, and they don't really have a major sort of spotlight. So that's why I thought it'd be cool to add him in as another choice from the requests for you guys. And if you don't know who Bubble Bass is, he's SpongeBob's least favorite customer. He's a giant green bass who's enemies with SpongeBob from the show. And the episode that you guys got to check out is when he debuts in the Pickles episode, and he was the one who challenged SpongeBob at the Krusty Krab, and he already knew of SpongeBob when you go and watch this episode. And then SpongeBob says Bubble Bass, and then he says SquarePants, and he just knocks Squidward out of the way. They recognize each other. So I wish there was more of a story with that before that episode to really be able to see how they became enemies, and where did he find him, where did he cross paths with him first before seeing him again, or running into him, recognizing him at the Krusty Krab. But I don't know the full story. Someone could probably explain it soon. But he was the one who challenged SpongeBob at the Krusty Krab, and he questioned his ability to cook. And with SpongeBob's confidence, he's the guy he's the fry cook for the Krusty Krab that whips up the Krusty Krabs with all his confidence, and just giving the customer what they want from the order, and he never really messes up any orders until this particular episode. And somehow, some kind of rare occurrence, SpongeBob ends up forgetting the pickles on his Krabby Patty, causes SpongeBob to lose his confidence. So that was just the moral of the story of this sort of episode where he debuts, where you really get to see what kind of person he is and what kind of character he is. I'll never forget this episode. It's so much fun to watch. I'll never. It's one of my favorites, and many other episodes I can bring up, but it's iconic, and it's funny just because a lot of people remember the episode, the things that said, things like that. But that's just the backstory of Bubble Bass and the fact that SpongeBob doesn't like when he appears and he's always trying to get food, as much food as he can when he places his order, things like that, just for iconic quotes and voice lines for him. So I hope he can get added, but that's his backstory to start. We're gonna jump into the stages. I want to just do
SpongeBob.
this. I want to do this real quick. Just put them together.
Select your arena.
So I just wanted to do this a little bit, just to get into the stages today. The Krusty Krab, Goo Lagoon, and Rock Bottom are still not in the game. And the one thing I want to say is that I haven't seen it spotted in the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 showcases or character spotlights. That has not been seen. We only seen these two stages that have been remade from the ground up. Jellyfish Fields is back, and then Flying Dutchman Ship, when we first got to see the gameplay breakdown of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2. The Krusty Krab, Goo Lagoon, and Rock Bottom I selected as ideal stages for Bubble Bass, but I will probably pick the Krusty Krab because this is where he debuted, and he was causing so much problems at the Krusty Krab anyway. So it seems like a more ideal location, and if Mr. Krabs is not in the game, maybe Bubble Bass can have that stage as paid DLC, or in the same DLC update, he can have that as his stage, the Krusty Krab, to be more ideal. I want to see Rock Bottom the most, and it's one of my favorite SpongeBob stages, but we only got these three. We got Glove World, Flying Dutchman Ship Engine, I just talked about it, Jellyfish Fields, as we just saw from the reveals and from these character teasers and spotlight breakdowns. There's so many other stages that they could put into the game from SpongeBob, but those are the just three stages that I brought up that I think could fit with his DLC. And as you guys can see from the screen, I hope all these stages make it back in. Every character in this game basically has a
Select
stage.
your fighter.
Everybody has a stage from their worlds. From Avatar, Korra, the Loud House, Railwoods, Technodrome, and so much more. Rooftop Rumble, things like that. It goes on and on. So those are just some kind of stages I think, but I definitely think the Krusty Krab should come out with them. But we're gonna jump into the costumes now. I didn't think he had any costumes, and I'm gonna just be honest. I didn't even see this episode until I started watching some clips of it, and this particular episode where he did wear something completely different, and I think the developers can use this as an ideal alternate skin or alternate costume for Bubble Bass. Big Bad Bubble Bass, where he dressed up as a wolf, or the Big Bad Wolf. And I got this from the Big Bad Bubble Bass episode where he tried to steal his neighbor's action figures since the store sold out of the piggy line. So from his original attire, he wears an orange tank top and round glasses, and I thought I was gonna originally stick with just color swaps, color variations, I like to call them, where you can just be able to switch the color. See how, like this, I use April for example for today. See how it goes green? You could change the color of his tank top, his glasses, and then his orange pants just from a push of a button. But I didn't want to settle with that because I ended up trying to do some extra digging, and I ended up stumbling upon this Big Bad Wolf costume that he can wear, and I didn't even know about this. This was an episode I never seen, so I think this will be a good one. So they can referenced the Big Bad Bubble Bath episode when he was so desperately trying to get the action figure. SpongeBob ended up having it, so he ended up making his return. I think he was in another episode as well. I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. But SpongeBob had the one action figure that he was looking for, and on Piggy Line, trying to do whatever he can to get it from him, or try to steal it from him in a way. But I think this could be some kind of ideal costume for him. I did not see any other alternate costumes that he could wear besides this one, so I thought that would be probably cool. And then just being able to customize the color of what he wears for his tank top, and his glasses could have a little bit of a background color on the lens, customize the color of the lens of his glasses. That'll probably be pretty cool too in the mix. And then maybe his just with the wolf costume, the big bad wolf, that could be different colors too in the mix. But that's all I could find out, and that's all I could really come up with as far as his costumes. But I'm glad that I was able to find something, because I didn't think he wore anything else in these episodes, because he's not really a main character that you see pop up like Sandy, Patrick, Squidward, and company. So it's different for him. Now for the taunts and animations, I gotta go with this taunt for sure with his laugh. They gotta put. I hope he does get into the game for DLC. I think a lot of people like this, and I would use this over and over, just having him laugh. It just from the show, from the episodes when he said, "You forgot the pickles," and he was like, "Still no pickles," but just his iconic laugh will be perfect. And just I'm trying to just attempt to do the laugh, just how he sounds, and and his tongue moves so weird in the episode where you guys can see it. When he was hiding the pickles under his tongue, he's just how you started laughing like that. But just that kind of laugh would be perfect for him. I hope that they'll really consider adding that for his taunt, and you can keep him laughing as long as you hold the button down to taunt to really tease the opponent about to get ready to win, and just things like that, just to play around on the battlefield for fun. I think they definitely should do that. That's the only taunt that I want for him. And then just some voice lines that I picked up just for his order, for example. It can come up in maybe in the arcade. He said, "I'll take a double, triple bossy, deluxe on the raft, 4x4, animal style, extra shingles with a shimmy and a squeeze, light axle grease, make it cry, burn it, and let it swim." I still don't know what kind of order that is, just from what he was saying. And he made this order when Squidward was at the cash register from one of the episodes. And then in the same episode from the Pickles, and there's my ride. He can have things like that for just iconic voice lines from the episode that people will never forget. And especially just again his laugh. That's something that definitely belongs in the game for sure. So I really hope that if they do end up going after Bubble Bass being a tanky character that I think he can be, it'll be funny to hear his laugh. I don't even know who voices him. I don't have all that stuff memorized. But it doesn't matter who voices him. I just hope that they'll be able to get him into the game. I think he'll really be another great SpongeBob rep that's underrated, that not many people talk about and bring up for more SpongeBob reps. And he's a villain, so it stacks up because the game needs more villains anyway. Now it's time for the moveset. Just my little favorite part, as I always say. And I wanted to make the moves make sense and make him a powerful character and a hard-hitting character like PTM and Reptar, but he's going to be extra tanky. He's not going to be fast. So you see how Reptar's not that fast in the game, but he hits hard. You want to make sure you don't let him hit you. So he'll be able to rack up some hits and some damage on you. But the moves that I came up for Bubble Bass, I wanted them to make sense to fit his character. So I started with a rolling cannonball. A rolling cannonball attack where Bubble Bass can manually roll over opponents in any direction chosen by the player, and you can follow up with a lunge attack. So, who was I trying to think of? I was thinking of Blina, how she has that little roll. It makes me almost think of like almost similar to just some kind of a it made me sort of think about it as a homing attack, but the spinning move that she does in that little spinning ball form, and she can actually use it to recover in the air. She can do it on the ground and in the air. I'll have to go to her moveset and see it, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. That just sounds like a car, vroom, vroom, something like that. But with Bubble Bass, he's gonna be able to constantly roll around the ground. So it's going to be like an upgraded version of that move, and it's going to deal more damage. So you'll be able to move from left to right and control Bubble Bass with his cannonball on the ground. And with it, I also mixed in and threw in another move to make it two different types. So instead of chasing the opponent down into a cannonball, they're going to think you're playing as Bubble Bass and you're on the battlefield going against Danny Phantom or whoever. They're going to think you're going to just continue to chase them down with the cannonball until you make contact with them. You can just cancel out of the cannonball or get out of that cannonball and turn it into a body slam for a full-on lunge attack, which I mixed in. So two different moves with it. With this one, where Bubble Bass can be able to propel his body forward to launch everybody, launch any enemies in his way. So, well, you're rolling at him with a cannonball, but that's not it, because the player can be able to press the same button again to he'll just jump right on you with his weight and be able to crush you that way and knock you away with a body slam. And then it's perfect for crowd control with the cannonball, whether you're using the cannonball to roll around to knock everybody out the way, clear out the field so you can get some movement, get some space on the field, things like that. It's good for crowd control for his body slam too, even if the player is not rolling into the cannon or using the cannonball. So I think it would be a good idea. And I'm gonna just say it. I wanted to use his bone crushing weight as a move, and it pays tributes to the episode. See how he crushed Plankton in the episode when SpongeBob and Plankton were friends and things like that. He's a big character, so I gave one of his moves using his buttocks. So while neutral, Bubble Bass can use his bone crushing weight and stun the enemy, and he can just crush you like that. So it's a tanky move, and I think this would be a good a neutral strong attack. See how Garfield does the turkey leg, things like that. Powder Toastman does like a little super punch, things like that. I was thinking of Reptar. See how he comes in the air and he'll land on you. Bubble Bass can do something like that while he's on the ground. Or maybe he can do some kind of a forward. He can maybe leap into the air and then crush on you, land on you like that. That could be something too. So I was thinking about Reptar, different moves in this with his tail and things like that. So with Bubble Bass being the big character that he is, you don't want to get crushed by that, because that's going to do a lot of damage. So he'll be definitely hard hitting with that. So definitely want to watch out for that. And sort of kind of a projectile, I came up with a belching wave attack for Bubble Bass, where he can charge up and release a dangerous belch to send multiple enemies away. And with this, I thought it could be charged up. I was thinking about part of Toastman with his hyper corrosive croutons. See how you can just press it and charge it up, and then when you're ready to release the hyper corrosive croutons, he fires a little bit more, and they they damage the opponent on contact. So with his belching wave, he'll be able to really get multiple enemies at once, and when he's ready to release, he'll be able to just get everybody out of his way. He's gonna be good for crowd control. So that's why I wanted to, even though he's not gonna be that fast, I wanted to make him hard hitting, dangerous, and being able to handle multiple players at once if there are any on the field. So he'll be great for one-on-ones, or if you're in a, you know, 3-player, 4-player, or 8 players, if they do something like that, possibly he'll be able to handle and just get everybody out of the way with his belching way. And even with a little bit like Hugh Neutron's burping and Garfield, they're the 2 characters that have something similar to that. But Bubble Bass is going to be better, and you can charge it up for more damage, and it'll get everybody that's in range, that's right in front of them. So a projectile attack that I wanted to throw, just outside his belching wave, I wanted to make it fitting. So instead of doing the belching wave as a projectile, I just used that as another crowd control sort of move. A projectile attack that I think would be funny to see is him using Pickles to pay tribute to the episode, and I think this will be really iconic, and I think the fans out there will like this as a projectile attack. And I called this move No Pickles, and where Bubble Bass can throw Pickles across the battlefield full screen. See how Hugh Neutron throws the ducks, and I was gonna say Patrick, Garfield throws the pies across the screen. He can have something identical with that kind of range with the Pickles. Maybe he can throw raw Pickles, pickle pieces. See what I'm saying? The small pickle pieces across the battlefield, and you can be able to get hit by those. So a nice little, a silly, goofy projectile attack I wanted to give him. Pickle pieces he can throw. No one in this game has that kind of thing. Mikey throws a full pizza across the screen. So Bubble Bass can throw pickle pieces across as a little projectile attack. I wanted to be a little bit creative with that. So, and it's just how SpongeBob always forgets the pickles. Still no pickles. So I wanted to make something like that, and I think the developers can do something like that for his moveset for projectiles with pickles. And now, something I've been constantly doing ever since the new game came out, or came to fruition, with ultimate attacks being real, I gave Bubble Bass an ultimate attack, and it pays tribute to the Bubble Bass reviews episode from the Patrick Star Show. And I'm gonna be open, I have barely seen any episodes of the Patrick Star Show. I haven't, but I ended up finding this episode and watching some clips of it. And in this episode, he throws a major tantrum, and getting to know Bubble Bass, he is known for throwing a lot of tantrums. So I thought this would be great to utilize as an ultimate attack for Bubble Bass, where he can unleash his tantrum and just go crazy on you. And it's an earth-shaking ultimate where Bubble Bass's tantrum, well, I'll just put tantrum, or a temper tantrum, something like that, where he can just go crazy with his rage and things like that, and he can have that similar behavior in what he was with all that rage and the temper tantrum. He was going crazy in the Bubble Bass reviews episode with his madness. So he'll be a lot stronger, doing even more damage, and basically invulnerable during this tantrum, where nothing can hit him and nothing can slow him down, and he'll just basically be able to have his way to be able to dominate everybody on the field with his tantrum. Even if it's one-on-one, definitely want to try to get out of his way. But I wanted to do something a little bit slick with his tantrum. Not only is he going to be a little bit extra powerful during his tantrum, we're going to give him a little bit of a speed bonus or speed boost temporarily during this ultimate, so that way he's not going to be too slow. At least when he gets his tantrum, he's going to be a little bit faster and even more dangerous of an opponent on the battlefield, so you don't want to get in his way. So I thought this would be perfect for him. So it fits his character. It makes the most sense, and it's a good little reference for him. And most people who knew about this character have mentioned that he's known to have a lot of tantrums. So I thought this could be something that's perfect for his ultimate, and he can really be able to squash SpongeBob once and for all. Just little ideas. But those are all the ideas I came up for this request. I definitely had a lot of fun putting this together. And just his laugh again is just hilarious to listen to. It'll be funny to hear it with the game. Since we have voice lines in it for the next game, they can definitely get a lot more SpongeBob reps in. And he's just one of the characters that I think could be able to fit along with some others that's not really mentioned, Larry the Lobster, and others, even though they don't really have like a major role in the game or the major role in the show, they can still be able to shine and be able to get some kind of spotlight and some kind of recognition to be added, and then as an additional villain to fit the roster.